Hello again. I hope you like that spooky intro music because I'm the one who made it this time. Yeah, spooky season is ending. I'm doing back-to-back episodes because today's the 29th of October, and I wanted to get my spooky season episodes out there before Halloween, which was in a couple days. So this is my last spooky season themed episode. And I've been like, this is an idea I've had for a while for different things, but I put like a spooky twist on it. I might revisit it later on to take another twist on it that's not spooky, more suspenseful, more thought-provoking. But because it's kind of based on something happened in real life, but no. So my spooky twist, this is my last spooky season story. Like I said, I just did a back-to-back episode. Hope you listened to that one. That was a previous one I did, Resurrection Mary. Hope you liked it. But this one, I think I'm going to title Reunion Too Late or Never Too Late Reunion. Because, okay, here's the backstory. The part that's really, the part that actually did happen in real life. Found out some years after graduating high school that somebody I graduated with, like in the same year, turned out to be a serial killer. And a very violent one, which is weird to find out, because I was still living in the state that I graduated from at the time, and it was like a big story, especially because this is before, I can't remember if this is before Facebook, or I know social media was a thing, MySpace was a thing, but I can't remember if I was really into it then, so I might have missed some things, but like, I heard about it, whatever. I don't want to give their name, I don't want to give them any kind of spotlight or anything, but yeah, I was reading about the case, and it's pretty, anybody who's a murderer or serial killer isn't good, but it's like when it hits somebody and this is the problem, I've seen pictures of this person, I don't remember them at all. Like me in high school, I had the mentality of just get through it. Like, I didn't like high school at all. I wasn't popular or anything, but I wasn't like bullied or anything. It wasn't like, oh, I was popular, I was bullied. No, it was just keep my head down and get through high school. I don't really have too many memories of high school. I remember, people, but this person, I honestly, I can't remember if I had classes with them because they graduated the same year as me. So we obviously had to have some sort of class together, but I honestly, he might've been like me, just keep his head down, get through high school. And that's where the story is. The story starts. So that's the background of the story. That would be the same thing happened. It's told from like me as a writer's perspective, that I went to high school, college, and grew up to be a writer, podcaster, whatever, reporter, journalist. And coming up on a reunion, I can't remember if I decided on 10 or like 20 years. I would say 20 just because it's past a lot of time. He goes to his 20-year reunion, and everybody's catching up, and then the story shifts to this person that they all went to high school with that turned out to be a serial killer that's in jail for like he didn't get put to death or anything, but he got life in prison, because that's what in real life, that's what this person got. I think they got 100 years, which is good. They should never be out. And it switches to that, and from my as a character's perspective, he gets like intrigued in the case. Like maybe he was traveling or he moved out of state and all that stuff, so he really missed all the stories about the case, and he starts looking it up, and he finds out that even though they got life in prison, they only pled guilty to, or was found guilty of 5 or 6 murders. Because I think in the real life case, I think he was publicly known for 5 murders. But in the story, there's a rumor that that's all he was known for, and that there were more murders that he was linked to. And then the whoever, I mean, me from the story perspective as a journalist, he would look more into the case and try to read about what the serial killer said they did and all this stuff. And curiosity really gets to him, and he wants to write a story about them. So he ends up visiting them in jail. Because like I said in my story, it's getting confusing. I know. I'm sorry. So my character would be intrigued because he doesn't remember this person from high school. Like I said, he wasn't popular. He wasn't bullied. He just kept his head down and got through high school, and he really didn't know this person. So he starts to wonder if this person was like him. It's like this curiosity thing. So he wants to meet them in jail and write a story about them based on, it's been 20 years since they graduated. These different paths you take in life. He became a journalist and a writer and all this stuff. And this person became a serial killer and is in jail for the rest of their life. So he ends up requesting to meet him in jail, and he meets him a couple times, and he starts interviewing him and writing about him. And just the story he's trying to write is like two lives diverged. They ended their high school at the same time. Their lives diverged into these two varying separate ways, and he's trying to write a story about how that happens. But curiosity kind of intrigues him too much, because the serial killer he's interviewing kind of starts playing mind games with him, and he's saying, at some point he keeps saying that I'm only known for 5 murders, but there's a lot more. And so the writer, my character, keeps pushing him to try to kind of in a way butter him up to get his confidence level up, so he admits to where they can find more bodies or who he's linked to have murdered and all this stuff. So this is where the spooky part comes in. This is where like the stories diverged. The spooky part comes in where he convinces the writer character, me, convinces the serial killer that he went to high school with to say where he buried more bodies. But he's worried that it's a trap, because he talks about how he really didn't like police, and he want to get his last revenge on the police, is what my character thinks. He's like, his last revenge is sending the police out there on this wild goose chase to find more bodies, and there's nothing there. But he tells the police, but the writer tells the police that he says there's more bodies in this area because it's where he hid out for a while and all this stuff. There's this farm if we go to there. So the police don't believe him at first, and he convinces them. So he goes, the writer, goes with the police to this abandoned farm that wasn't far from where they grew up and went to high school, where supposedly the serial killer buried more bodies. So this is where the spooky twist comes in. Like I said, they get there, and they kind of get lost, and it gets dark. They're looking for these, hints for where, police would look for burials, where somebody would be hiding bodies and all that, where the dirt looks weird and all that stuff. But then what happens is the bodies the serial killer killed comes back to life as zombies. I know I said I'm not the biggest fan of zombies, but this is my spooky twist. So that's the revenge the serial killer wanted to get on the police, to set this whole thing up. So they go out there, and zombies, these victims, come back to life, these bodies in the ground. So a writer and some police have to survive these zombies that come up out of the ground in this spooky farm. It becomes a survival horror. That's my spooky twist. Ooh. But yeah, like I said, this story I want to revisit the story and not take that turn to they go to a farm and, bodies come back. Because I also remember listening to another true crime podcast. We were talking about a serial killer who was trying to admit to that there was more bodies buried. But when he went with the police took him out to show him, but it found out that he was just lying. He just wanted the attention from the police. I can't remember which, I shouldn't be giving any serial killers any spotlights, but it was a story I heard a while ago while listening to True Crime Podcast. So that's where my inspiration for that came from. So that would be it. Like whatever tropey survival horror, themes kick in, where the perspective you're watching from is this writer, this podcaster, this journalist who has to survive as zombies come back to life on this abandoned farm. And then he finds like the abandoned house where the serial killer used to, hide away stuff and stash away stuff. There's all these crazy things there going on there with this paranormal, and he finds writings from the serial killer, and it's a whole big story and all this stuff, and he has to survive and finish his story that he's writing, because that's what has to happen. And then he survives somehow, makes it out, and he writes his story, and he leaves that whole part out. But no. So that's my last spooky story, based on a real serial killer that I unfortunately went to school with. But like I said, I'll revisit this at some time, because taking that real life story, I kind of wanted to take it in another direction. But I had this story about, the situation where somebody would go out there with the police to find more bodies that were buried or from a serial killer, and ends up turning paranormal and spooky and zombies. Of course, zombies is all the easy road to go down. I'm sorry, but I had to do a zombie story. It's spooky season. But yeah, like I said, I'll revisit one more. I just wanted to get out my last spooky story for this spooky season. I hope you liked it. And I hope I remember what I named it. I think it's a reunion too late, or a reunion too late. That's what I'll name it, because that's what I remembered. But thanks for listening. I hope you guys have a good and safe spooky season. I hope you didn't go to school with any serial killers like me. But you know what's next? That Christmas creep. But thanks for listening. I hope you hear from me soon, because I doubt I'll ever hear from you. But thanks, guys. Bye.